Module 4, the future of connectivity, is focused on 5 different areas. And I will get you started with a basic overview of each of these areas, give you some insights into questions that will be asked on the quiz, and hopefully to get you interested that you will go into the resources in each of the module components to check out more information. We have a goal and several objectives for this week. You'll study 5 different perspectives on the future of connectivity, learn benefits and drawbacks for each, and how each viewpoint might affect the future of the internet and social media. So there's an extensive list of resources for you to review. There are videos, there are some audios, references to books, to articles and websites. There is a quiz that you can take toward earning the badge, and there are 2 different discussion posts. And we'll have you look at a topic of interest and post it online, and also encourage you this week to post what you find to Metis so that you can use that as a resource. And don't forget that you can personalize this. You do not need to share these resources, and then you can download them and take them with you at the end of the MOOC or at any time. The 5 main issues that we're focusing on this week are the technological connections and the economic impacts and implications of connectivity, the interpersonal and emotional connections involved with being connected to your cell phone, to different social media, to your laptop, to your handheld mobile devices, the political and global implications, and the socioeconomic implications. And as you see in the quote on the left, that connectivity is a common thread that ties together the future of innovation. So we take for granted oftentimes in many segments of our society around the world that the internet and connectivity is there whenever we need it. But that's really not the case. And there are some issues involved with this, and so we're going to be focusing on those this week. The technology brings many changes, and as I said, it's for the past 20 years the internet has been there, the World Wide Web, but there are changes coming. There are people talking about whether to have net neutrality or not. The Internet Corporation for Assigned Names and Numbers made some changes in domain names several years ago, and they're also undergoing some more changes. And the Internet of Things, or the Internet of Everything, is also making changes in the way technology works with us and for us. The technological connections with the Internet of Everything really have wide-ranging implications, as more devices that have been inert in the past or non-functional can work together, so that your refrigerator can be handled from your cell phone, as one minor example, but that the technologies are working together. One definition from Cisco on the left, and I'll just read it quickly, defines the Internet of Everything as bringing together people, process, data, and things to make network connections more relevant and valuable than ever before, turning information into actions that create new capabilities, richer experiences, and unprecedented economic opportunity for businesses, individuals, and countries. And we've just begun to see some of the implications for the Internet of Everything. On the right-hand side is a futurist projection. It is a timeline, so that the 2000 to 2015, has come to pass, and then projections into the future of what the technology roadmap will look like. And you can get some more information in the resources in the module and also on this Cisco website that focuses on the Internet of Everything. Tim Berners-Lee, who was responsible for the creation of the World Wide Web, said on the 20th anniversary this year that I want a web that's open, works internationally, works as well as possible, and is not nation-based. So he is looking for a continuation of the Internet as we know it now. But there's several other systems that are coming to pass. The decentralization of the Internet, some call it the splinternet, some call it balkanization. This is just one article that you will find in the resources area from Future Tense, looking at how the Internet is splintering off and becoming more individualized with countries, with other segments of society breaking off and having their own internets. Another term that you might hear is meshnet. On the right are three different sources, among many others that you'll find in the module, that discuss what meshnets are. So it's a new wave of decentralized Internet access. So the graphic on the top is all points, peer-to-peer networking, whereas the traditional Internet is a central supporting infrastructure, and that is depicted by the graphic on the bottom. And you can look at the MeshNet project, other sources that will explain what are the pros and the cons versus our Internet that we know, as well as a decentralized system. So those are some important topics to know about. There are also global technology issues. The Global Technology Report 2014 is one source for you to look at. There are a series of videos that you might be interested in that will show you what other countries are doing about technology and global information. This one particular report ranks the progress of 148 different countries in leveraging information and communication technologies. So those are the ICTs. So to increase productivity, economic growth, and the number of quality jobs. And you can see in this report that how different countries are handling the digital divide and trying to bring equitable Internet connectivity to everyone in the nation. It's certainly not a realization yet, but global economies, global Internet service providers are trying to bring connectivity to everyone. There are also three different publications and organizations that I wanted to highlight. WSIS is the World Summit of the Information Society, and their mission and statement is the emerging trends and matters of strategic importance to the development of the telecommunication and information and communication technology sector. There's a link to them. And they have conferences where people come together from all segments of society, different countries, to pay attention to information and communication technologies on a global basis. Connect the World aims to mobilize human, financial, and technical resources. And there's one graphic here for Connect Asia Pacific, but there are a number of different Connect conferences and publications for different locations around the world. So you can look at this site to see if they have done anything in the part of the world where you're living, and to also look out to see what they're doing globally. And then the International Telecommunication Union is the ITU. You can look at their brochure and their website, but it is the United Nations Specialized Agency for Information and Communication Technologies, so that these are global issues being discussed by interested individuals from many countries, so multinational, and connectivity is not just a local issue, but something that has wider implications. And I wanted to make you aware of some of the publications, organizations, and governments and what they're doing about it. There are also economic implications. If you look at the left, where it's another future prediction, it's the growth, job growth and GDP through 2017. But the report evaluates the economic and job creation impacts generated by projected wireless infrastructure investments. So what they're saying is that the wireless companies are going to be investing between $34 billion and $36 billion per year over the next 5 years. So this was done last year. So in the coming years, this is what's projected. But as much as this infrastructure costs, the yield will be significantly more in terms of economic impact. On the right are the projections that between $863 billion and $1.2 trillion in the cumulative economic development over the next 5 years will be 606% increase over what the information infrastructure is putting in. So 606% increase. There will also be a 2.2% increase in the GDP in the United States by 2017, and a direct impact of $85 billion to $87 billion of economic growth per year over the next 5 years. And look at the number of jobs being created. 28,000 jobs in 2017 and 122,000 in the next 5 years in the wireless infrastructure industry alone. So this is projections. Hopefully it will be even a greater impact than what they say, but do take a look at this report that the wireless infrastructure investment will generate $1.2 trillion in economic activity and create 1 to 2 million jobs. The economic and social benefits of expanding internet access is a value of connectivity. One organization that just turned 1 this year is the Alliance for Affordable Internet. And I would encourage you to go to this website to see the infographic that is on the right in more detail. It doesn't come up quite as large to be able to see all the different components and projects that this organization is working on. But it is a coalition of private sector, public sector, and civil society organizations that have come together to advance the shared aim of affordable access to both mobile and fixed-line internet in developing countries. So this is another global implication for connectivity. Interpersonal and social implications. There are so many people around the world who are involved with their networked and connected friends, relationships for work. There have been studies, and there continue to be studies, showing that reliance on technology can impact the way we think, the way we remember, and the way we interact with one another through social media, through public performances, having virtual experiences rather than in-person, face-to-face, dating services. Just one impact that has really increased globally in all segments of society, all age groups, religions, lots of different things that have taken hold with that. The Dunbar number indicates a study by Robin Dunbar in England, in the UK, that we can only have 150 meaningful relationships, that anything larger than 150 becomes superficial. So you might have hundreds of likes and friends on Facebook, on LinkedIn, in your social media, but you're not going to be keeping in touch with them. So also, some of the more longer standing social media sites like Facebook are being left by the younger generations because their parents, their grandparents are now using these. Some people have said it's no longer the cool factor. Plus, they're moving on and experimenting with other smaller social networks. So these are two articles that you might be interested in, specifically about Robin Dunbar, the Dunbar number, and smaller social networks. And then we look at connectivity. Is there too much or is there too little? Sherry Turkle's book has been out several years, Alone Together, where you're sitting in front of your device and you're connecting with lots of other people, doing lots of other things, but it's not face-to-face. You're alone and you're together. That some people are really connecting to what robots can do now and projecting what they can do in the future, because falling in love, for instance, in a personal relationship can be very hurtful, and technology would not do that to you. Now that is at the extreme, but coming back in, we are interacting with others, doing video games with people from around the world who have a similar interest. Lots of resources like that. But then the digital divide. There's not enough connectivity for a large segment of the world's population. And we saw earlier in the slides that governments are trying to do something to bridge that digital divide. This is one book on the right that is focused on how librarians can bridge the digital divide. The library in many parts of the world is the only place that some people can go to get connected. The other day, my connectivity was out and I went to the library to be able to get the Wi-Fi. So it's wonderful to have it there. There are people there who will help you to manage the technology, to train you, to give you the skills that you need. So we've looked at all the 5 different areas of connectivity, and it's important as futurists to know what are the issues, what are the implications, and to know both sides, the pros and the cons. Political and global implications. We saw in the last presidential election in the United States that social media gathered a younger population together to contribute financially and to bring out the vote in the younger generation. We saw in Arab Spring that social media got momentum going in many of these countries for insurgencies. However, there are limitations to social media. It wasn't social media alone that led to this. If you look at this Small Wars Journal article that is listed on the right, it notes the limitations of social media in revolutionary movements, that people can like things and support things on social media, but it doesn't mean their money is where their mouth is, that there could be weak ties, and you really need strong personal relationships in order to make a difference. It's not to say that you can't have strong relationships in social media, but social media does not guarantee that you will have those relationships. In social media, there is a level of real-life participation. It may be that these people in social media situations will come out and participate live, but again, not a guarantee. And there may not be real leadership or a clarity of mission. Doesn't say that there isn't in social media, but there is some limitations that you need to be aware of. And in Kansas City in the United States was one of 3 cities chosen by Google to bring in internet connections to the city to make sure that there was faster, better, more internet for the people. And Google, if you look at this article that's at the bottom of the screen, it talks about how Google was going to go into different cities and case studies of what happened. But in Kansas City, there were socioeconomic barriers. Google said they would bring in internet service at 3 different tiers of levels, one being free for 7 years, as long as they had a pre-registration quota of people who would be interested in that. And the map on the left shows the geography in Kansas City between the people in the more affluent neighborhoods who signed up right away, met the quota, versus the people in the lower income brackets who could not and did not want to or see the need to sign up for connectivity. And some of those barriers were that the residents needed to have a Gmail address in order to sign up, and they didn't have that. A credit card was required, not to pay for anything, but as an identifier, and many people in the lower socioeconomic neighborhoods did not have a credit card, did not have a bank account. And as I said, the affluent communities met the Google Fiber's pre-registration quota. But the disincentive also, as small as it might be, were the service fees and or the $10 registration fee. That people did not see why they needed to have the internet, they didn't have the money, they didn't have the Gmail address, they didn't have the credit card. So while Google was willing to come in, it had the qualifications that it needed on those 3 tiers. So the digital divide is still prevalent in just about every community in the United States, and we know it's prevalent throughout the world. So this is one case study of socioeconomic implications for connectivity. This presentation is just a brief overview to tell you what the issues are, to hope that you will take an interest in them. There are so many resources for you to explore in Module 4. Each of the 5 areas has been set aside so that if you are interested in the socioeconomic or the interpersonal implications, you can go there to see the resources that we've pulled out for you. Sherry Turkle, whose book I mentioned, is just one person that we have a TED Talk video that you might be interested in seeing what she has to say about focusing on a personal device as opposed to being out and interactive. So I've talked about this as being a road to your awareness of the issues. I've given you the roadmap, the resources to get you to the destination, and now it's yours to explore, to go through all the resources, to have discussions with others online, to take the quiz if you're interested in the badge. All the resources that are questions and answers that you'll find in the quiz I've noted here in this presentation, and we've given you hints in the quiz as well to go out. So I hope you will understand the breadth of the future of connectivity, the issues involved, and that you will learn more about these in depth as you explore Module 4. And I will see you online.